Hey everyone, this is Trendell here from SCAZA. I hope everyone's doing well today. Before we get started, I'd like to talk about what we talked about last week. Okay, so in lesson one, we discussed the steps to reaching a goal. You named a goal, which is the first step in our goal naming poster that we talked about and reviewed. And you wrote action steps to reaching that goal. Okay, so think back to last week, think about the goal that you named, the action steps. Did anyone complete one or more of the action steps that you listed? I hope so. I hope you worked on it and thought about it over the week. Think about any obstacles that you may have encountered. Remember, we talked about external and internal obstacles that could get in our way of our goals. If so, what did you do to overcome them? Okay, think about that. And as you reach your goals, you will make decisions along the way, okay? And you might have already made some decisions pertaining your goal. So remember, the choices you make affect how you will reach your goals. Okay, so lesson 2 for high school, making decision making, titled Who's in Charge? Okay, so we make decisions every day. Some decisions are okay to make quickly, while others require more consideration. So what decisions can be made quickly? Okay, so examples are like choosing what to eat for lunch, what to wear to school. That's right. So the decision of what socks to wear with your outfit does not have major consequences, okay? However, deciding not to monitor your finances, so taking care of your money correctly, and just hoping for the best when you spend money presents significant consequences. Okay, sometimes people avoid making decisions altogether. And why do you think that happens? Why do you think people avoid making decisions sometimes? Okay, so either they find the options and the consequences too overwhelming, too stressful, or they don't take the situation seriously enough to figure out the best thing to do. However, avoiding the decision doesn't make it go away. Okay, if you ignore it, who or what ends up making the decision? Your friends, family, maybe circumstances, life. Okay, so circumstances or other people involved will decide for you. Okay, so if you don't want that to happen, it's important that you, we're going to learn the steps to take to try to make an informed decision. In life, especially as you become adults, which you guys are almost there, you're going to have to make a lot of decisions. How we approach these decisions can move us closer to or further away from reaching our goals. Okay, some people make decisions through trial and error, but there's an easier, less risky way to make good decisions. Okay, so we're going to look at that today. How many of you have made a bad decision before? I'm sure everyone has. I know I have. Like anything else, though, if you want to do it well, make a decision well, you need to practice, okay? So the more you practice, the more the process will become second nature to you. Okay, so we're going to learn the steps in our decision-making model. So this is our decision-making poster, okay? And take a look at the top. So what is the first step to take when faced with a decision? Okay, the first step is to stop. Before making a decision, take a moment to process the choices at hand. You might regret the decisions you make when you act too quickly. So it's really important to stop and take a moment to think about what the decision is that, or the problem is, and what the decision is that you need to make. The next step is to think. Okay, some things to consider before doing anything are to consider the choices and the consequences of each choice. Okay, what is best for you now and what is best for you in your future? What might be influencing your decision? And also, how might this decision affect other people? Okay, after you have evaluated the consequences of each option and considered your future and how your decision might affect others, the next step is to act. Okay, so you act out the best decision or the best plan. Once you've made your decision and acted out the best plan, the final step is to reflect. Some things that you need to think about are, did you make the right decision? Okay, did the decision turn out the way you wanted it to, or the way you had planned it? Or do you need to do something different the next time? Okay, so that's why it's important to sit and reflect after the decision to make sure that you don't need to do something differently the next time. So let's put the decision-making steps to work. Okay, so in the workbook, I took a picture of it because you don't have the workbooks in front of you. We have a dilemma, Henry's dilemma, okay, and I'll read it to you because it might be kind of hard to read from there, or from where you're sitting. So on the first day of his new semester, Henry reads his science syllabus and sees the dreaded words group project. Henry doesn't like group projects much. They usually mean double the work for him. However, the groups are pre-assigned and Charlotte is in his group. Charlotte lives in his neighborhood and Henry is head over heels for her. In fact, Henry plans to ask her to the prom. Henry thinks, maybe this group project won't be so bad after all. This may be a way for Henry to meet some new friends and get to know Charlotte better. 2 weeks come and go, and as he anticipated, Henry's group members are not putting forth much effort. Amelia announced early on, my schedule's crazy, so she has not been to any of the group meetings. Devin seems to always cancel at the last minute, and although Charlotte does some work, it hasn't been enough to make a good grade. Henry's dilemma. Henry needs to make a good grade on this assignment. He is thinking about talking to the teacher about being assigned to a different group. Should Henry ask to be reassigned or not? Okay, so in order to make a good decision, Henry must first stop to give himself time to think about his options and their consequences and how they will affect his goals. Okay, his goal is to get a good grade in that class. Okay, so on the bottom we have of this page, we have Henry's options. Okay, and they've listed 2 options. So his first option is to be assigned to a new group. Okay, so he can ask his teacher to be assigned to a new group. The second option is to not ask to be assigned to a new group. Okay, so either ask to be reassigned or not to be asked to reassign to a new group. Okay, so what I want you to do for a minute is just kind of think in your head or maybe jot down some possible positive and negative consequences for each of these options. Okay, consider which option would be best for Henry now and his future, as well as for each option, or as well as how each option might affect the people around him. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to write those down. You might need to pause the video to have a little more time, but if not, I'm going to kind of go ahead, okay? So what are the possible positive consequences of Henry asking to be assigned to a new group? Okay, you might have thought of that he might get a better grade, which he probably would. Possibly, maybe the second group he would be put into might not be doing their work or holding up their end of the bargain either. Okay, Henry could be proud of his speaking up. Okay, the teacher is so proud of himself for talking to the teacher and standing up for himself. He will show the teacher that he cares about his grade. Okay, so those are some positives for sure. Okay, some possible negative consequences of Henry being assigned to a new group. Okay, the new group might just be like I said before, the new group might be just as bad as the old group or worse. He might get a bad grade with the new group. The people in the first group might get mad at him. He won't get to know Charlotte. Remember, he wanted to maybe ask her to the prom. And he might not be able to do that anymore. He won't have a date for the prom, possibly. Okay, so we're going to go down to the option number 2, What are possible positive consequences of Henry not asking to be assigned to a new group? So some possible responses might be that Charlotte goes to the prom with him. He becomes friends with other people in the group. But on the flip side, the negative consequences could be that he gets a bad grade. Remember, his goal was to get a good grade in this class. The students in the group could blame Henry for the grade they got. And there's a possibility that Charlotte might not go to the prom with him anyway, right? So there are positive and negatives to each of these options, okay? So now that we've explored the parts of the think step, so remember this is the part where we think about the options and the consequences. Now's the time I ask, what would you do if you were in Henry's situation? So this could be, it's probably a lot of you will have different answers for this. I know if I was Henry's mom, I would say probably to be asked to be put into a new group because his end goal was to get a good grade in his class. So there are many things that can influence the decisions you make, okay? Influences like the media, experiences that you have in life, your values that you were raised to believe, your family, your goals in life, your peers, your friends, or your emotions, okay? But are these influences always positive? No, not always. When you consider what's influencing you, you can determine if the influence is positive or if it's pushing you to do something you don't want to do. So remember, no matter what the influence is, you are ultimately responsible for the decisions that you make, okay? So if we were in school together face to face, I would be handing out and we would be playing a game called Deciding Factor. But because we are not, I'm going to modify this game. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a set of, of statements. And what I want you to do is match your statement to the correct influence. Okay, so I will read it. I will read the statement, and then you are to decide what it was influencing this person. Okay, so the first one says, to impress her friends at the homecoming dance, Brittany decided to buy a designer dress she knew she couldn't afford. Okay, so what is influencing her in her decision to buy a dress that she couldn't afford? Well, it was trying to impress her friends. So in this situation, it would be her peers that are influencing her. And it wasn't the best decision that she could have made. Good. Okay, how about this one? Even though Tyler was late for football practice, he decided to stop and help his elderly neighbor carry groceries into her kitchen. He thought it was a respectful, neighborly thing to do. Was that a good choice for him? Yeah, that was. It was nice to help out his neighbor. And what influenced him in making that decision? Okay, if you said values, you were correct. Okay, so his values of being there for someone in need influenced his decision, and he made a great decision. Okay, how about April? April was so heartbroken by the breakup with her boyfriend that she decided to go shopping and spend all of her money that she had saved for her summer vacation. Okay, so what influenced her to do something that she probably regretted when it came to her summer and her vacation? That's correct. Her emotions. Her emotions got in the way. Okay, they kind of took over, and she made a choice that she would regret later. Okay, how about this one? So this one says, Michael's dad has always purchased and driven trucks. When Michael could buy himself a vehicle, he bought a truck. Okay, so what influenced him? His dad, right? His family. His family influenced him to buy that truck. Okay, Chris. Chris watched an infomercial and decided to purchase an incredible blender even though he's never craved a smoothie before. He just couldn't resist that infomercial. Okay, so what has influenced him in that decision? The media. Very good. Think about the media, the things you watch, the YouTube videos, the music videos, okay, and how they influence your decisions you guys make. Okay, James. James decided to keep practicing his trumpet instead of taking a break to watch TV. Section tryouts are tomorrow, and his goal is to be the first chair. Okay, so he made a good decision. He didn't take the break. He decided to keep practicing because his goal was the next day. Okay, the goal that he had made with his trumpet was the next day. So what influenced him to make that good decision? That's right, his goals. Okay, the decision he made would help him to reach his goal. And lastly, the last time Jordan stayed up all night trying to cram for a test, he got a D. This time he decided to study a few hours every night for a week before the test. Okay, so that was a good decision because of his prior experiences, right? So last time staying up all night and cramming for the test did not work for him. He got a D. So this time, because of that experience, he changed and did something different. He decided to study a few hours every night. Good. All right, awesome. Okay, so think about the last time you made a decision. What influenced your decision? Was the influence positive, or did it push you to make the wrong decision? So next time, if you consider the influences on your decision before you make it, you will be more likely to make the best decision. So think about the last time you made a decision. What influenced your decision? Was the influence positive, or did it push you to make a wrong decision? So if you consider the influences on your decision before you make it, you will be more likely to make the best decision. Okay, so in our next lesson, we will discuss further how emotions can influence our decision making. Okay, and that concludes our lesson for SCAZA today. And here is our email again, available to you guys, scazaprevention@gmail.com, for any questions or comments you want to send my way. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, have a great week.